Now, before you all start yelling at me from the title, we're gonna just hear me out, because I do want to talk about this, since everyone loves this game. Everyone always loves this game. It's their favorite From Software game, which I don't believe is true. But let's go over that. So, things that I look for in a game from Software, it's always bosses for sure. Always bosses, the gameplay itself, and just a fun experience, which I did not have in Bloodborne. Alright, so first we'll go over the bosses, because that's always a big thing for people. Now, I'm going to go over the good bosses and the bad bosses. Are you ready? And I'll explain why. Alright, good bosses, I have Father Gascoigne. I'm going to say all these names wrong, by the way. Martyr Logarius. Oh, man. Ibritus. Murgle Wet Nurse, which I actually liked a lot. Guriman, Ludwig, Lady Maria, Orphan of Kos. Those are the only bosses I liked in that game. Now, the rest I did not like at all. Now, the problem what I have with these bosses in the game, they're pretty much all the same. They just added some elementals to them. So, a majority of the bosses in this game is literally slash, and then they use whatever elemental they have. That's basically what these bosses are. Now, they didn't really do anything too unique with this. It's just all the same, which I don't like. Because there's a lot of bosses in all these other games like Dark Souls where they're pretty much all different. Sure, some of them in the other games are going to be the same. But, listen. If it's just, I get it, it's all big monsters. Like, what else could they really do? I mean, they proved that they can do other things with the bosses I just named, compared to the rest, which is literally a slash boss. Literally just slash lightning explosion. Oh, Dark Beast. I hated that boss so much. But listen. Bosses is a big thing for me, like I said. And this just did not hit the mark at all. Now, the DLC was definitely way better over the base game, for sure. DLC is the best part of Bloodborne, and that's it. Bloodborne, if it was just the base game, it's not good at all. Now, we'll talk about the areas. People love the atmosphere, which I do like as well. Now, what I like better in other games, like Dark Souls, is they have different looking areas. Almost all the areas in Bloodborne just look the same. If you literally took a picture of here and then this place later on, you could pretty much guess it could be in the same exact place. Now, the only area that I really did like, look-wise, was the Canehurst Castle. That was like the only snowy part. That was the only different part to me at all. So, I did like that one a lot. Atmosphere itself is cool, but just it didn't really hit the mark as much, because I like to see variety of different places. Now, one thing that bugged me the most, even more than the bosses, is just the gameplay, which people like, and I did not. Now, the number one issue that I had was the blood vials either had to be bought or farmed, which I absolutely hated. Why? Because you just not... why can't you just refresh at the lantern? You can't even do that with the lantern. You can't even refresh the area. You have to go back to Hunter's Dream and then go back to reset the area. Oh, man. That was just some extra work they did not need to do at all. Now, for me, the movement felt off. Because, you know, I'm so used to Dark Souls Elden Ring. When I was playing Bloodborne, I'm just like, this feels a little bit off. Now, when I was running, this doesn't happen to me in Dark Souls at all, but when I was running, it always forced me to jump every time, which I hated when I was trying to run around the boss to try to dodge. You know how many times I have died to bosses just because I jumped into the attack? Just because after I was running, I'm like, dude, stop jumping. It's that made me mad. Yeah, everyone knows, and people wish it was not like this, but the 30 FPS just sucks. It literally just sucks. Now, which people love a lot in this game, they are the trick weapons. Now, trick weapons are very cool. I will say that. It's just, overall, maybe just at least 2 weapons were cool to me. Only one I can think of at the moment, I'm just saying 2. The only one I can think at the moment is the little spinning blade one. That's the only cool one that I could think of. All the other ones were just, oh, big sword, turn into a small sword. I mean, there's some other ones too, but it just didn't hit. It really just didn't hit for me. Like, people always say, oh, well, Bloodborne's weapons are better than Elden Ring's. I would highly disagree with that, but that's up to opinion. Now, I want to talk about this. This is the new game coming out, Lies of P, which I personally already think I'm going to like better than Bloodborne for sure. Now, I know Lies of P is going to be a little bit shorter. I have to see how the bosses are. Now, if the bosses are just swipe, 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 I'm going to have an issue. But the 2 first bosses that I've seen so far look pretty good, so I'm pretty excited for that game. And the King of Puppets looked really cool, which I liked, so can't wait. The atmosphere, they have different looking parts, especially where they open the door into the, I don't remember the castle's name, but it's like red or white in there with the puppeteer, the spider things. That is going to be one of my favorite places in that game. Now, they also have trick weapons in Lies of P. Now, from the gameplay that we've seen, I think it's easily going to be better than Bloodborne's trick weapons for sure. Just from the attack itself. It just looks way too good for people to say, oh, well, this trick weapon isn't going to be better than Bloodborne. It will. It will. Literally, you can literally just look at the trailer and you can tell. Now, one thing I wish they did, I mean, that's pretty much the majority of the issues I have, is definitely the bosses. The areas all look the same, which I do get. I get it. Like, what else could they really do? They're going to the same areas, but, you know, I'm just more of a personally, I'm more of a fan of the Dark Souls games where it's just different areas. I love that. But I get what they're doing. Now, if they restarted the whole entire game, not just a remastered, I know people are waiting for the remastered, but if they restarted Bloodborne and had a whole different situation going on with all the bosses, I think I would like it better. It really depends. Because I just don't like the big monster swipe issue. That's the big issue I have. Some of them were cool. Like a Britus. Britus was pretty cool. It was a hard boss too for me. Now, that's pretty much the issues I have with the game. You guys can complain in the comments, which I know it's going to happen. Because Bloodborne fans... See, now Bloodborne fans really think it's the best game. Some think it's the best game ever, which I highly disagree. People think it's better than Elden Ring, which is just not true at all. Like, literally, everything in Elden Ring is just better than Bloodborne. Literally. You can like Bloodborne. And I understand when people say they like something, they're gonna make sure they like it more than everything else. But it's not gonna be Elden Ring. Now, I wanted to end this video off making people mad. This is my tier list of the games, From Software games that came out. You guys are gonna get so mad at this. Number 1, Elden Ring. Number 2, Dark Souls 3. I was a big fan of Dark Souls 3, and you know Gale. 3, Sekiro. 4, Dark Souls 1. 5, Armored Core 6. Number 6, Dark Souls 2. 7, Demon Souls. 8, Bloodborne. Yes, I know you guys are going to get mad at that. I know I have Bloodborne last, but like I said, I like it the least out of all the games. And I will say, my favorite boss in Bloodborne for sure, that's literally up there with Gale. Gale's always number 1. but is up there with Gale for me, and I think it's my number 2 boss ever, is Lady Maria. Plus, I like her OST better than Ludwig, so you guys can also get mad at that. I do like Ludwig, though. But, man, Lady Maria definitely slapped in that game. Alright, well, have fun trying to roast me in the comments.